When we approach a bona fide spiritual master, a bona fide saintly person, with a desire for Krishna consciousness, with the desire for detachment, knowledge, and devotion, and when we approach such a person who is no longer interested in material life, then our spiritual life really begins. Of course, the unfortunate situation is that because the material energy is so powerful, that sometimes we forget why initially or originally we came to spiritual life. Sometimes, as time goes on, we become very complacent. The things that we so enthusiastically renounced or rejected when we began our spiritual life, we begin to consider that these things really are not so bad after all. Maya is like a thief. Her business is to steal whatever propensities you have to serve Krishna. Of course, for a materialistic person, they just leave their front door wide open and go to sleep. And the thief of Maya just walks right in and steals everything away. But for a devotee who has learned from a bona fide spiritual master that sense gratification and Krishna consciousness are total opposites. You cannot have both. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya parita chetasam vyavashayatmaka buddhir samadho navadiyate. That for those who are too much attached to material opulence and sense enjoyment, the resolute determination for devotional service cannot take place. Without detachment, there is no possibility of attachment to Krishna. So therefore, a devotee is trained to lock every door and every window so that the thief of Maya cannot enter into his consciousness. We follow the four regulative principles and we keep our mind filled with hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. In this way, Maya has no place to enter. Sometimes it is said that Krishna consciousness is like the razor's edge. If there is a little inattention, there will be blood. What does that mean? If we become the slightest bit inattentive, if we leave even one crack of the basement window the slightest bit open, you can know for sure Maya will find that. And she will very, very quietly, gradually open it and creep in. And you will not even know that she's there. And very, very meticulously, carefully, and quietly, she will little by little take one, another, and another of the treasures of your home, your consciousness. And by the time you wake up, you realize there's nothing left. This is the way Maya works in relationship to a devotee. Very subtle. You give in a little, and then a little more, and then a little more. And you do not even realize that you're giving in. You're thinking, just a little. Just, after all, we're not fanatics. After all, a little sense gratification is healthy. Gradually, a little becomes a little more. That becomes a little more. That becomes a little more. And you're thinking, actually, I'm a good devotee. I'm doing everything just right. And before you know it, you realize that you're totally fallen. You have nothing. You've lost all your attraction for Krishna consciousness. You've lost all your attraction for austerity. Your intelligence has been stolen away. You're completely an illusion, completely bewildered. Then you finally, after it all makes sense, how did this happen to me? Srila Prabhupada told the story about the camel. It was very cold in the desert, and the Arab man had just one tent. It was big enough only for him. And he had a fire in the tent. It was very warm. So the camel came and said, "Please let me in the tent, I'm very cold." He said, No, it's only big enough for one person. You have to stay outside." So he was very fixed in his determination. But the camel said, "But my nose is very cold. Just my nose. Let me put my nose in." The Arab said, "All right, but only your nose, nothing else." It's the beginning of the end. When you give 1 inch to Maya, there's no end. So the camel put the nose in. After some time, he said, "I cannot see. My eyes are freezing. Please, just my eyes, only my eyes." He said, "All right, only your eyes." And after some time, he said, "You know, camels are very, very attached to their necks. We have very big necks. My neck is freezing. You don't know what it's like. Please, just my neck." And then his front legs, and then his back legs, and then his tail. And then pretty soon the Arab was outside, freezing on the ground, and the camel was nicely enjoying the evening in the tent. It's a foolish sounding story, but it's the story of our lives if we're not careful. If you give Maya an inch, she will take everything. Imperceptibly.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on devotionalnectar.com.